What's going on, everybody? This is going to be a heated moment or a little rant, but it's very important. So if you're somebody who agrees with this, or if you're startled by this information, please share this and write every congressman, legislator, anybody who's important that you can get into, and even up to the president. Because at this point in time, we have seen democracy and freedom be completely taken away from the American people. In the state of South Dakota, what just happened is they voted in two amendments for one, recreational marijuana, and also medical marijuana. And then we saw a direct attack on the voter and the will of the voters and the liberty of the people. And the governor basically backed and put up $400,000 for a couple law enforcement officers to file a lawsuit against this recreational marijuana amendment. And that basically just got taken away. They filed it in a county where they were cahoots with the judge, and that judge ruled with them that that was unconstitutional. So let me just give everybody a scope here. First off, the people of South Dakota collected 60,000 signatures to get that petition on the ballot. It was 3 times the necessary required signatures to get that on the ballot, and they did that. And when that was put forward to be on the ballot, it at that point in time should have been declared by somebody that it was constitutional. And the fact that they've been able to go in now, after 54% of the people of South Dakota voted yes on the recreation, and take it away, is astounding. And Kristi Noem herself got voted in with 51%. Okay, more people voted in that state for recreational marijuana than the current governor, yet she came in and said that the people of South Dakota made a mistake on record about voting into legalized recreational marijuana. So let me just put in a couple of things to context here. Her slogan, or all of South Dakota's governor's slogans, is "Under God, South Dakotans, the people rule." First off, under God, the Bible, Jesus, Genesis 1:29 says, God gave man all seed-bearing plant. There is no parentheses there. That does include cannabis, and we've been able to figure out through science and lots of legitimate research that cannabis is extremely good for you. And the fact that we have been robbed from it as a people is unbelievable. Not to mention that in that state, there are 4 people blasted into a mountain, 2 of which for sure have been documented growing and smoking hemp, which at the time was not regulated between CBD and THC. We can be positive that they were smoking marijuana, but there was no difference because it was all called cannabis or hemp. It was all through an American encyclopedia of medical plants, medical properties. We have it in the history books that our entire Constitution was wrote on hemp paper. It's unbelievable that at this point in time, we just saw recreational marijuana get taken away from the people of South Dakota. Now, this is a direct stab at our freedom. Okay, if you do not take a stand now, and this is all across the country, if we as a people do not take a stand now against the corrupt politicians, we are going to lose our country. I've been listening to old people across the nation. I've been to Texas during the pandemic, Wyoming, South Dakota, Illinois. I've been to Colorado. I've been listening to people all across the nation, and they have all been saying the same thing. Oh, this isn't America. This isn't the place that I grew up in. It's not the same. And it's a scary place to be living. It is. It's a scary place to be living when the governor of South Dakota, 2 in a row, first Dennis Dugard, now Kristi Noem, both of them botched an industrial hemp bill. You can call Derek Scheffelbein. He's the person who's now in charge of the South Dakota Department of Agriculture approved hemp plan. I went to the state capitol in South Dakota and I spoke on their hemp plan. I let them know that it was flawed, it was completely riddled, and that if they passed it, it was not going to be successful, and I listed out many reasons why. One of them saying they do not allow any indoor growing. They do not allow any indoor growing. You cannot germinate a seed inside at all. They also made it to where you have to have a minimum of 5 acres. Okay, so for anybody who's not familiar, that's 2,000 plants an acre. 5 acres, that's 10,000 plants required. In the state of South Dakota, in order to get 10,000 plants that necessarily need to be sexed before they're put in the plant into the field, they have to be rooted, and they have to be established, and they have to be sexed before you put them into the fields. Well, how are you going to do that in February or March in South Dakota if you can't do it inside? You can't. It's impossible. They have created an elaborate snare trap for anybody who wants to get involved in industrial hemp, to where they will either be illegal or impossible to be successful. I talked to them about it. They did not care. They did not listen. I personally had Derek Scheffelbein, the head of that program, the industrial hemp program. He refused to be interviewed for YouTube. He refused to be interviewed on the phone and let it be for the public to hear. I told him he was spineless for not standing up for this. He told me personally that they being Kristi Noem and the government of South Dakota, they want it to be a grain and fiber state. Yet they don't know anything, because they could be making more grain and fiber with the cannabis plant. America, we need to wake up. The people of America need to wake up. Yes, and some people out there will say, oh, I can't believe people would riot about cannabis. If you're not willing to stand up for your basic liberties, your basic right to have a plant that has never hurt anybody, if you cannot do that, if you cannot collect 60,000 signatures, put it on the ballot, and respect democracy, there is no such thing as freedom. There is no such thing as liberty. There is no such thing as democracy. Wake up.